Thank you for watching Why I Killed You TV. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this particular video on this particular YouTube channel. So we're going to be talking about the case of Sade Robinson and Maxwell Anderson. Sade Robinson was just a regular 19-year-old. She was a nursing student, and now her body will not fully be recovered because allegedly Maxwell Anderson is the reason that she was murdered. So he is being charged with homicide, arson, and mutilation. So they actually went to her apartment recently, and everybody is saying she was just an ordinary college student. That's what the apartment looked like, and it's really going to help the jurors decide what really matters in finding out what happened to Sade by looking at her apartment. On April the 1st, 2024, let's just talk about a timeline. On April the 1st, 2024 at 9 a.m., Sade is seen entering her apartment building in Milwaukee's Lower East Side in a black jacket, a white top, and some jeans. So the very next day, which is April the 2nd, 2024, around midday, a severed leg matching Sade's description is found within a park. So and then that afternoon, April the 2nd, 2024, police conducted a welfare check on Sade's apartment. A maintenance worker actually let them in and secured a search warrant. On April the 2nd, shortly after that, the same day, 2024, April 2nd, investigators executed the warrant on her studio unit, finding no signs of forced entry or any type of struggle inside the apartment. So we're going to fast forward to May 2025. We're on day 3 of the trial, and jurors are able to look at photos and they're able to hear testimonies about the apartment search, including the discovery of a pink safe containing marijuana and what seemed to look like 47 pills of methamphetamines. Okay, so it hasn't been tested, but they said it appeared to look like meth. During the 3rd day of trial, jurors got a closer look at Sade's small apartment. Detectives, look at it. They said it looks like a college student's room. Clothes were thrown over the chair. There was makeup on the vanity. There was a Nintendo Switch in the corner. There was no broken doors. There was no forced entry or anything like that. Inside the apartment, investigators found this pink safe. And when they opened it, they discovered it had some marijuana in it, and like I said, 47 pills that look like meth. It was never tested. The defense argued that these drugs might point to another reason someone would be angry or violent, and the judge agreed to let them ask questions about what was in the safe. Do you think that the drugs that were found in the safe are relevant to this case? What is your personal opinion? I personally don't think that this is relevant. This man was on a first date with her, and he had all intentions of killing her before the date even started. So what does that have to do with whether or not she has marijuana in her home or meth in her home? What does that have to do with anything? Are they trying to say that she somehow aggravated him and he did this to her? I'm not really understanding the relevance of this. So another detective explained that they obtained a search warrant. Sade hadn't answered the door, so the maintenance worker let the police in, and the apartment was empty. And aside from normal clutter, there was nothing to suggest that she had been hurt inside. The evidence supports the idea that whatever happened to Sade occurred outside of her home, and reminds us that behind the headline, she was just a simple young student, and she was living an ordinary life until she met Mr. Maxwell Anderson. So what are your thoughts about the drugs? What are your thoughts about the marijuana? What are your thoughts about the meth? If it was meth, I don't know why they're even bringing this up if it was never tested, if the meth was never tested. What are your thoughts? I disagree. What does that have to do with her being murdered and dismembered? I totally disagree. That, to me, it has no relevance whatsoever in this particular case. Go ahead and tell me what you think in the comments.
Robinson's apartment. Right, Deanna. Robinson's studio apartment on the Lower East Side of Milwaukee. Detectives here today describing her space as a pretty typical college student apartment. But there were some items discovered in a safe during a search warrant that the state tried to keep from the jury here today. The jury, for the first time, seeing Sade Robinson's home, inside and out.
You've reviewed all of this footage, and her car never returns to that lot?
That is correct.
Including security footage. The state says proves Robinson left her apartment in a black jacket, white top, and jeans on April 1st, 2024, in her blue Honda Civic, and never returned home. Inside her apartment,
it actually just reminded me of a college student's apartment. So it was a little messy, but you know, to be expected for someone who's younger.
The jury saw images of Robinson's kitchen, packed closet, bathroom, and toothbrush investigators used to collect DNA.
There was no force of anything, of like a break-in or anything like happening.
Did it appear that any struggle had occurred inside?
No.
During a break with the jury out of the room, a dispute over evidence.
The state would be objecting to that coming into evidence.
Prosecutor Ian Vance Curzan wanting to omit the discovery of drugs inside Robinson's home, found in a safe. Those items include marijuana and pills of meth. The state questioning its importance to this case.
As an offer of proof, there were no drugs found in her system. Those specific substances, so I don't know how it's relevant.
The defense wanting to point to any suspect other than Anderson.
Just like I think the state plans to go through everything that's found in Max's home, even if I don't like it. So I plan to go into it.
How do you find it relevant, other than just what was merely located?
There is a tie between drugs and violence.
The judge ultimately siding with the defense. The jury back in the courtroom learning of the drug discovery.
What does meth mean?
Meth?
Yeah.
I just use the short term for methamphetamines.
But that's a street drug, right?
Correct.
And then 18 grams of THC, obviously marijuana is not able to be purchased lawfully either.
Correct.
Investigators eventually finding Robinson's body parts across Milwaukee, her blue Civic burned, with her black jacket, jeans, and underwear in the trunk.
A lot of details today unfolding in court, Hannah. Sade's family in the courtroom for it all, and they're now reacting to the drug discovery tonight.
All right, Deanna. So Robinson's family attorney says that these drugs, which were never lab tested, have no connection to this murder trial whatsoever. She goes on to say in a statement, quote, her mother and father are physically and emotionally suffering right now, so the focus must remain on the real issue at hand. Who murdered Sade Robinson and how was she murdered? Who burned her car? Who committed arson and why did they commit arson? Now, that arson was actually the focus of this afternoon's witness testimony from the prosecution.
They hate you. You're gonna die. I don't want to do this.